let's get to our final storyteller for the evening. You can find her on the Moth podcast and website. She has a YouTube channel called Stay Golden, which I'm told has some 70,000 subscribers. Very impressive. And bring up my wife again because I think she would love this. She hosts a Golden Girls bingo night, and the next one is August 25th.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try to bring my wife to that. Please welcome to the stage Courtney Antonioli.
Everybody aggressively taller than me? I guess so. Oh, there she is. I led a dual life in high school. By day, I was a jock, captain of the varsity soccer team, all-state travel team, captain of the tennis team. And, on school buses to games and in classrooms. That's how people knew me, but I was an only child. I was pretty silent and kept to myself, and so when I would be around other kids, I'd hear the other girls talking about, they would be fawning over Jonathan Taylor Thomas or wishing that they were Claire Danes in the newest Romeo and Juliet, and I was secretly fantasizing about Bill Pullman in the 1995 gem While You Were Sleeping. I wanted to be Annette Bening, the American president, because I wanted Michael Douglas to cast away the presidency for me. While my teammates were trying to find their twins, their long-lost twins at summer camp, I was trying to activate my latent mutant powers. Nobody knew any of this about me because I kept all this to myself. But that's the Courtney that they knew, the jock. But by night, I was Alexandria LaChase. So we got a gateway computer, and after 75 hours of waiting for my AOL to ring true, I discovered the world of AOL's online role-playing message boards and chat rooms. So I know this was also my metaphorical gateway into fan fiction, of which I was well known in the communities for Wolverine and Storm fan fiction. As well as Giles, just Giles from Buffy. But text-based role-playing, right? So you just sit by yourself in a dark room for hours on end, and you go into chat rooms, you create a character, or you can become one from your favorite pop culture, and you type about stories, you respond to messages, you play around, and everything your character does, you type out. Just endless amounts of typing, right? So this is a dream for a person who doesn't talk to other people. And I spend after school, before school, after work, before work, school vacations, all the free time I have, I am sitting in these AOL message boards, and I'm role-playing in a world called the Ryden Realm, which, for some inexplicable reason, the moon is always full. And because I like community and teams, I join a guild, which is the Order of the Crimson Star, and that guild is run by a cat named Boo Radley and Darth Vader. So you could be anybody you want to be in these role-playing universes, and I loved it. I didn't tell anybody about it. You're going to the games, and everyone's chatting around you, and I'm just like, I can't wait to get home to get to my guild. I can't wait to get home to get to my guild. And when you you can go on message boards, and you can also go to chat rooms, which were called taverns at the time. And in every tavern, every female patron would glide in effortlessly. That was not effortlessly. With luscious, overflowing locks that hid two cerulean pools just above a mischievous grin. And every male patron had either long black or silver hair and a mysterious background. And I loved it. And I would log on, I would check my chats, I'd be like, okay, what are we gonna do today? Oh, we're just gonna sit in a chat room and recruit. Because when you're in a guild, the other half of this is recruiting, because somehow, even in a fantasy world, there are pyramid schemes. And promoted to the commander of the J Trident. And this was my only endeavor in life. So I would sit 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 hours in a chat room trying to recruit people into my guild. And it was really fun for me because I could be anything I wanted with Alexandria, right? And my character, she was not French, P.S., but I picked the name for her crayon marks because I thought that was artsy and that would make her seem quirky, and she would be cute in that kind of rom-com way where the outcast girl takes off her glasses and everyone's like, whoa, where did she come from? Like, I felt like the crayon marks, absolutely, that is what you heard when you saw that name. But also, what were we doing with these screen names back in the day, people? It's like 45 iterations, and I was like, yes, crayon marks is available. Of course it was available. Of course it was. And I still have it. I just want you to know, if you want to buy it, it's not for sale. And also, the thing that I'm a competitive person by nature. I played soccer for 20 years. I was at the highest level of my abilities at the time that I was in high school. And so, at the same time that I'm recruiting, there is an excessive amount of bureaucratic paperwork when you're a member of a guild. I'm talking reports, applications, medals, morale letters, message boards. I wrote more reports for my guild than all 4 years of my English classes combined in high school. And I did that joyfully, And Courtney, by day, she didn't have a boyfriend. She didn't even really think it was an option. She was too busy, but also boys didn't notice her, and she felt quite uncomfortable around them. But Alexandria, she was married. To a half-human, half-fox named Alec Frost. He could control snow. Because the other half of the role-playing world, when you're not in the chats trying to recruit people, is your private messages and your AIM doing very primitive, very sad cyber sexting. And I really don't want to call it sexting because the 1998 version of this was very basic, very, very much the following. You write things like, presses up against you. That's hot. Nibbles on your ear, because nibbling was a very popular way of showing affection in the role-playing world. I guess, the furries. My favorite, when you're getting ready, oh, you're gonna tip it into that real sexy part, holds your member in my hand. But this was hot. This was so hot. My parents are 2 doors down in our very small condo, and I'm just typing away at the computer oh yeah, I'm holding it. Look at me hold it. You like me holding it. It was a masterpiece. Everything you wrote was a masterpiece when you're role playing, because I was an artist who admired their work. So I printed out some of those chat logs at the library at school. And I kept them in a folder that I kept in my pillowcase. Because I like to review my work sometimes before bed. Never imagining that my mother might change the sheets one day. See, my mother is the type of person who, if you are 5 minutes late, she has called every hospital in the state. This is also Chris Hansen's To Catch a Predator era. So Mary Ellen finds this folder, and then she proceeds to call the Naugatuck Police Department.
Oh my God.
And has 2 cops sent over to our house. And when they arrive, for the next 2 hours on my Sunday night, I have to try and explain to them the online role-playing fantasy world that I spend a good 40 hours a week in. These 2 middle-aged men who have no concept of fantasy. They're just So you're saying that Alexandria is not you, but it is you because you write it. So it is you? And I'm oh, but it's not really me. But maybe the best version of me, or the me I want to be during the day when I'm not talking to anybody and not telling anybody about this. And I I had to answer questions, and I'm like, no, I'm not in a cult. This is not a cult. No, I don't think I'm really married to a half man, half fox. No, I can't get pregnant from cyber sexting. That's not possible. Sirs, I've not invited anybody over to the house because it's not real. I actually live in a castle in an ice planet with my half fox hat. No, too much information. I'm fine. This is fine. You should just go now. And they do. And my mother just folds the folder and promptly throws it in the garbage. And I'm like, haha, joke's on you, because I can print out multiple copies. Mary Ellen really thinks she had me there. And I go back to school the next day on the school bus in my uniform, going to a soccer game. And everybody's talking about what they did this weekend. Chat. And they're like, oh, hey, Courtney, what did you do this weekend? And I was like, as I am every day, I just hung out. Good time. Yep. Go Greyhounds. Thank you.